Now, let's look at this story through evolutionary eyes. Let's imagine it as an evolutionary spiral so that we can catch the pattern in this great journey of life. The formation of universe, the formation of earth, the formation of life, the appearance of multicellular life, animals, plants, the biosphere, the emergence of human life. And now as we go up the sequence of human life, we begin to see we may be going around the next turn in our spiral. At the heart of the spiral, out of the silence, comes the core of the spiral. We can see it as divine intelligence. We can see it as implicate order. We can see it as the mind of the cosmos. But what we see is that it is divinely intelligent. Some of us call it God. The subjective experience of this intelligence is in you and me. It is that yearning in us to be more, to do more, to express more. It is what Benjamin Franklin called the divinity in our humanity, that we can feel pressing us now as we are part of this story ourselves. Now, in order to get guidelines as to what to do now, let's look at the lessons that we can learn from looking at the universe, earth, life, animal life, human life, and now us going around possibly a next turn. What can we learn from the past that could guide us in the present to create a future equal to our potential? The first lesson is very obvious. Quantum transformations are nature's tradition. Nature takes jumps from one state to another. First there was no earth, then there was earth. First there was no life, then there was life. There were no humans, then we appeared. Newness is inherent in the nature of reality. The nature of nature is to transform. Lesson number 2, crises precede transformation, and problems are evolutionary drivers.
Somewhere in the vast oceans of our evolving planet, a remarkable mutation occurred. One of these primitive bacteria developed the ability to capture energy directly from the sun. This event may have occurred in a tide pool, waves bringing a regular supply of nutrients and sunlight penetrating the shallow, clear water. This new mutant life form was noticeably different from its ancestor. It was a bright green, and gas bubbled from its cell membrane, a highly reactive and toxic gas, oxygen. This gas threatened and attacked the existing life, destroying it on contact and driving many species to extinction. The survivors of this assault hid in the deepest parts of the oceans and buried themselves in mud flats away from the oxygen threat. Scientists call this early appearance of oxygen the oxygen catastrophe. This new life form creating the oxygen is cyanobacteria. And this new process that captured energy from the sun and released oxygen into the atmosphere is photosynthesis. At the interface between the ocean and land, green plants appeared, clinging to the rocks. Washed by waves, these early plants climbed out of the ocean, carrying their embedded cyanobacteria with them. And over the next billion years, these primitive plants changed, adapted, and evolved into the dramatic diversity of plant life that we now have on our planet.
And we also learn from studying the past that when a species is young, it's competitive, it eats up its environment, and it competes with itself. And it hits a limit to growth. If it does not learn to cooperate, it becomes extinct. You can see what we might be getting to here about our own species. As I mentioned, the earliest shift from the animal world to this unprecedented human world was a little creature called Australopithecus africanus. Lucy was known as the first of our species who stood upright. And if we had seen him, it would be almost impossible to imagine that out of this small biped, which looked almost exactly the same as the animal, there was an infinite difference. Invisible at that time, I'm sure. But out of that came the rise of humans. It is a quantum jump from the most intelligent animal to the first human. And then we have a whole sequence of the emergence of humans. There are many different types of humans that were arriving at that time, but the most well-known is called Homo habilis. Homo habilis was a tool maker. Then came Homo erectus. Homo erectus is famous for having discovered fire. And out of Homo erectus, we have Homo Neanderthal. They were intelligent. They buried food with their dead. Concurrent with that, Homo sapiens, our type, emerged out of this evolutionary process. Homo sapiens sapiens, the one who knows that it knows. Self-reflective consciousness emerged in the early human world. Around the same time, apparently, Homo Neanderthal became extinct. It isn't fully understood what happened there. Louis Leakey, one of the great paleoanthropologists, thinks that Homo sapiens sapiens had a better capacity for food sharing and cooperation than Neanderthal. So Homo sapiens began this amazing journey, and out of self-reflective consciousness came language. We could communicate outside of our own genetic codes, and every generation could teach the next generation, and we began to speed up time with the capacity to learn.